I'd like to call to order the Fishers Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for Wednesday, January 26, 2022. I'd ask everyone to please rise and state our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business this evening is an oath of office for Mr. Peterson.
Already taken?
He's taken it?
Already signed.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Welcome aboard. Our next order is roll call. Okay?
Yes. Mr. Grinslade.
Here.
Mr. Peterson.
Here.
Mr. Stevenson.
Here.
And Mr. Ferrucci.
Here.
Thank you.
We have a quorum for tonight's business. The next order of business is election of officers. So, Megan?
Yes, so we'll run through these. First, we would need to have a motion for the chairperson. Steve has served as chairperson over this last year and has agreed to serve. So if we have a motion to elect Steve as the chairperson.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Secretary?
Mr. Grinslade.
Yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
And Mr. Ferrucci.
Yes. Motion passes. Vice Chair?
Yeah, Rodney said congrats. And then the next is the election of the vice chairperson. And so that has been Howard for this past year. And so he has also agreed to be vice chairperson as well for this year. So if we have a motion for Howard to be vice chairperson.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Grinslade.
Yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
And Mr. Ferrucci.
Yes. Motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, order appointment of secretaries.
Yep, so that's just going to be staff members. So we've got listed here myself, Megan Bukasich, Ross Hillary, Andrew McGee, Jonah Butler, Bree King, and Tyler Folk. That's the planning and zoning staff.
Do we have a motion?
Second.
Mr. Grinslade.
Yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Ferrucci.
Yes. Motion passes. Appointment of recording secretary.
Yep, so that'll be Kay Prang.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Grinslade.
Yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Ferrucci.
Yes. Motion passes. Next up would be the designation of Plan Commission Legal Counsel. I believe it's Craig DeVault. We have a motion.
Gets all better judgment. I'll make the motion. Second.
Okay, Mr. Grinslade.
Yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Ferrucci.
Yes. Motion passes. And finally, designation of commission legal publications, which would be the Noblesville Times and the Current. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Mr. Grinslade.
Yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Ferrucci.
Yes. Motion passes.
Thank you.
I believe that's all the order of business for election of officers, appointments, and designations. So to move on, we have previous minutes of December 22nd, 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from December 22nd, 2021.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We have one. Mr. Peterson's abstained. Thank you. Great. So we'll begin our public hearing this evening, which is case VA 21-54, Upchurch Impervious. Samantha Shutt with PJE Lawn Care on behalf of Amy Upchurch, the homeowner, is requesting a variance of development standards to allow for an increase in impervious lot coverage up to 50% to accommodate a planned pool and patio space, as opposed to the maximum 35%, impervious lot coverage permitted by the Fishers UDO. The site is zoned R2 and is located at 12913 Water Ridge Drive, generally located on the southeast side of Geist Reservoir and west of Oleo Road in the Springs of Cambridge neighborhood. The petitioner is PJA Lawn Care. The project manager is Tyler Folk. Is that yourself?
I'm Philip Innes,
Okay. Could you say your address, sir?
2168 South Jacoby Road, Greenfield, Indiana, 46140.
All right. Go ahead with your petition, sir.
Our request is to get the impervious surface on this property brought up to 50% coverage in order to put a pool and patio in the backyard. It's, after findings of facts and everything else, it's a standard that's been approved for multiple neighbors multiple times within the same subdivision.
Okay. Thank you very much. At this time, I'm going to open the public hearing. If anyone is here from the public to speak as to this petition, VA 21-31, please step forward, state your name and address. Seeing no one stepping forward, we will close the public hearing and ask staff to present, please.
Well, good evening. My name is Tyler Folk. I am a planner with the City of Fishers, presenting staff report on VA 21-54, Upchurch Impervious Development Standards Variance. The petitioner is PJE Lawn Care on behalf of Amy Upchurch, the property owner. The location is 12913 Water Ridge Drive in the Springs of Cambridge neighborhood. It is currently zoned R2. They are seeking a variance from Article 3.2, Section 3.2.3b, the impervious lot standards. The UDO permits lots with R2 zoning, a maximum 35% impervious surface coverage. This request is to allow 50% impervious surface coverage to accommodate a planned pool and patio space. Here we have a map of the location of 12913 Water Ridge. It is that parcel that is outlined in red there, right on the shore of Geist Reservoir. Zooming in here, we see the surrounding area with some aerial photography. The existing lot conditions. The site tends to drain to the northwest into Geist Reservoir, and the portion of the lot that has the proposed improvements drains entirely into Geist. The impervious on the lot. The existing lot impervious is calculated to be at 44.9%, which is almost 10% above the allowed 35% for R2 zoning. Here we have a plan showing the proposed improvements. As you can see, it's outdoor patio space with a pool, fairly typical. The space near the shoreline of Geist is turf, that is not concrete. And here we have their plot plan. You can also see, I'd also like to call attention to the 20-foot water company maintenance easement. I'm gonna go back here. You see that red line that goes through the plan there? That is the boundary of that easement. I'd like to point out that is a citizen's easement for access and maintenance along Geist Reservoir. That is not a fisher's easement. The petitioner, PJE Lawn Care, and the homeowners are working with citizens concerning that easement. So they will need approval from citizens, but just to reiterate, that is not a fisher's easement, and Fishers has no stake in that easement. So public comments, I have not received any public comments concerning this variance petition as of today. And staff recommends approval to the board. Staff feels that the project will not negatively affect the surrounding area, cause a decrease in net assessed value, or be detrimental to the health and safety of others, but approval will allow for the construction of improvements to increase the home's property value and bring the lot into compliance with its R2 zoning standards. Should the board approve this petition, staff recommends it is done with the condition that the variance is recorded on the property with the county. Are there any questions?
Members of the board, anyone have any questions for Tyler? Okay, do we have a motion?
Just a quick question, maybe not for staff, or maybe for, we're draining all of it into the lake is what we're planning on doing with the patio and the pool. Everything's going that direction. My concern
Yes.
when I saw this, because I didn't look it up before I got here, because I was actually working today, was the fact that maybe it was across the street, and we were gonna, you know, cause drainage problems the other way, but being against the lake, I'm not seeing an issue. So when you're building that, all drainage is going back in the lake. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Great. Do you have a motion?
I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Is that, for clarity, I guess before we vote, is that what the recommended condition?
Condition, yeah, to report it as a variance to the county, absolutely.
Yep, the recording of the variance letter? Okay, yep.
Right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay,
Mr. Grinsley,
Yes.
Mr. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
and Mr. Ferrucci.
yes. Motion passes. Thank you, sir. Okay. Do you have any old business to attend to, Megan?
No old business, but we do have new business. So included in the agenda was the updated rules and procedures for the BZA. It's been a handful of years since this has been updated. So we did take a look at this and made some changes, and I'll just highlight some of the major changes before you all. There was also a memo provided that kind of outlined that. So one is public noticing. So staff is going to be taking on all public noticing for our petitions starting this year. So we've absorbed that cost into the cost of the permit, but we found that it's more efficient for us to actually handle that public noticing. So we changed the rules and procedures associated with that. We've also incorporated an electronic participation policy. So the state of Indiana now allows boards to participate electronically. There are certain stipulations with that electronic participation that you guys should be aware of. So please review that in the updated rules and procedures. But we've adopted this at council, and we're adopting this policy across all of our boards and commissions. And then lastly was just minor updates at the recommendation of legal counsel and staff, just updates that really needed to happen just over the past 6 years, some language cleanup. So if you choose, you can suspend the rules and adopt these revisions tonight at this meeting. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer.
Make a motion to suspend the rules. And approve.
Second. I just have a question for you, Megan. First of all, I think that's great that the staff has taken on that responsibility regarding public notices. Do you know, I guess, anecdotally, other cities, towns, counties who do that? If Indianapolis would do that, that would be awesome.
I am not aware of any other communities that do that. Okay. Westfield.
I think it's great, though.
Well, yeah, we're very excited. It'll actually save us time because a lot of our time right now is dedicated to educating each petitioner on how to do public noticing, and we'll eliminate that with this.
And I'm sure
process.
most of the petitioners would be receptive to the, I guess, insignificant increase in the cost or filing fee by letting the staff do that, I would think.
Yeah, I think they'd probably be very happy about that.
Yeah.
Spend more time and money doing it myself than paying the extra fee Tyler than to.
Yeah. Thank you. That's all I have.
So we have a motion. We have a second.
Second?
Mr. Grinsley,
Yes.
Mr. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
and Mr. Ferrucci.
Yes, motion passes. So we're done with all our old and new business. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Adjourned.
Thank you.